Hello and welcome to a limited PTQ preliminary event. This is the deck building session, and I can already see we have a sweet rare. So this is going to be a spicy draft for sure, or sealed. So the way I build decks is I usually sort by rarity first, pull out the sweet card. So we have the Scarab God and Plague Belcher, and then also Uncage the Menagerie, or Chaos Maw. Uncage the Menagerie, which probably doesn't fit into this shell, and then Leave to Chance, which I don't think is good, and Throne of the God-Pharaoh, which is good if you have, I don't know, like a lot of like aggressive creatures or tap effects, but probably not good in this deck. Then we look at uncommons. Trial of Ambition probably getting in. Torment of Scarabs definitely better in sealed, so maybe that card gets in. Merciless Eternal is great with zombies. Laid Bare the Heart can do some work as well. I like Labyrinth Guardian, and Eternal of Harsh Truths, if you didn't watch my last draft, is just absolutely bonkers. Then we have a Grasping Dunes if we want counters, an Enigma Drake. Should be noted that we actually have some good looking green as well. Sifter Worm, Hope Tender. Actually, maybe just Sifter Worm looks good to me. So that does it for the rares. Now I'm going to sort by color. We see a lot of red and green. Okay, so let's look at lands. We have a lot of green deserts, one blue, and an encampment. Probably not playing the Abomination. Manolith looks like it might be good in a deck of this type. Okay, so I really want to play the Scarab God at the minimum. So in blue we have Unquenchable Thirst. It's just great. Even Initiate I like. Tragic Lesson can be good, especially in sealed, just the card advantage is very relevant. Then we have a Counterspell. 2 Strategic Plannings might be good enough. Helps us find the Scarab God, so that's a sweet combo. Now let's look at red. Open Fire, Electrify, Minotaur. Probably not playing those. Florn Moloch's much better in an aggressive deck. Maybe Firebrand Archers. Maybe this Counterspell. I think the Bounce Spell is quite good. Okay, looking at black, we have Rune Rat. Just blocks everything. Death Touch plus Exile effects can kill any Embalm or Eternalized creature. Wasteland Scorpion as well, quite good. Wander in Death, just good for late game card advantage, and if we happen to lose the god, like through discard, we can always get it back. Wretched Camel might make the cut if we have enough deserts. Without weakness, probably not worth it, but I do like Horror of the Broken Lands. 5 mana 4/4 that you can cycle away is pretty great. The Rot Beasts might not make the cut. 2 toughness is kind of a liability. So here's kind of the deck we have laid out. And the mana does not look amazing. But I mean, we have 2 amazing rares. Chaos Maw very often will just be a board wipe and then some. Just a 6/6 for 7 is pretty strong, and then 3 damage to every other creature is amazing. Between these two, we have, I think we can win almost any late game. Both of these are very hard to kill. So I like where those are going. So I think we want to set up for just surviving as long as possible. So we want some very good defensive cards. Interesting that we got none of the walls. Those cards would have been amazing in this deck. Okay, so 27 playables right now. Lay Bare the Heart, I think, is quite good. In sealed, you can just take their bomb rares before they can even play them. I don't think I like Wretched Camel. We have only 2 deserts. I don't think I can play Grasping Dunes in this 3-color deck. So maybe not the Camel. I like the Rune Rat. These Archers may not both make the cut. So I'll take one out, but we'll see. I like the Thirst. Strategic Planning is quite good. Fills the graveyard for our Drake and the Scarab God, and just helps us find the Scarab God. and also makes our Wandering Death better. So I definitely like that. Winds of Rebuke is just a good all-around card. Labyrinth Guardian helps us stay alive. Then our 3-drops. I like having at least one counter spell. Wandering Death is good. The Scorpion, you can cycle it when it's not good, and then if it is good, you can play it. Tragic Lesson, I think I like playing. Our deck has quite a bit of card advantage, but the curve is actually quite low except for Chaos Maw. Maybe? I guess let's look at the red cards. Maybe it's not even worth playing a full amount of red. What happens if I cut all of these? Then I only have 19 playables. I can put in 2 Aerial Guides, Bone Slasher, and the Camel. And I guess these deserts now. Sort by CMC. So this deck is very low to the ground, with the Scarab God at the top end. But it doesn't have nearly as much power as the other deck. Like, I'm not going to be killing them with like a Rune Rat and Lay Bare the Heart. Or like some Lurching Rot Beasts. Okay, I want to look at the green cards. Because we have 13 minutes. I think I'm probably settled on playing Grixis if we do end up playing this. Aerial Guide might actually be good in this deck, but I'll put it over here. So these are the cards that I'm considering putting in. There was one other card I put in, I think the Camel. Cutting the Dunes. If we play green, we get access to 2 green deserts. We get Sifter Worm, Cartouche of Strength, Ambuscade, Romus' Stalwart, and a Hope Tender. So Sifter Worm is excellent. Kind of on par with Chaos Maw though, in that it kind of takes over a board state. And I think Open Fire is about the same as Ambuscade. Electrify I think is maybe on par with Cartouche of Strength. Huh. This is actually tough whether I play red or green as my second color. I guess Devotee of Strength could be good. And Uncage the Menagerie. Double green might be hard to cast, but I guess Feral Prowler helps me live too. So this is actually kind of tough. One second. Yeah, what's up? Okay, I'm back. Harrier Naga, Ornery Kudu. Okay, this is actually kind of tough. So red, Open Fire, Chaos Maw. It's more instant speed, but we like the only thing we need to hold up counter magic for is countervailing winds. Uncage maybe is not good, but then we could play Feral Prowler, Hope Tender, Sifter Worm, Ambuscade. Cartouche goes well with our Trial, and then maybe like a Devotee of Strength and the Stalwart. I think that goes better with the Scarab God. Okay, so Chaos Maw is about the same as the Sifter Worm. Ambuscade, so these are the same. This is actually a pretty tough call. We also do get 2 deserts, which lets me put in the Camel. Yeah, I think that's all the red that I would probably play in this deck. Maybe I start with Sifter Worm in the deck. Because the life gain can be quite relevant, because games tend to go late, and Triple Scry can be quite good. There are some board states where I won't want to play the Chaos Maw, where you always want to cast a Sifter Worm. Ambuscade's quite good with my Death Touchers. I can put in these 2 deserts. So that prevents me from flooding. Still playing the Manalith, most likely. So I guess I should put it in here. That lets me cut. Let's see. Devotee of Strength. Maybe is not good in this type of deck, because I'm trying to just survive. So Sifter Worm, Ambuscade, Stalwart. So I need to cut some cards. Wandering Death, Plague Belcher is great. Merciless Eternal maybe is not the type of card we're looking for here. It's a great card, but we're not particularly aggressive. And 3 mana is kind of clunky. So maybe I could see cutting that, cutting 1 Strategic Planning. I think I like playing a 1 of Winds of Rebuke. Trial's good with Cartouche. I think Tragic Lesson is good enough in Sealed, where the decks are slower, and I can definitely side it out if that's not the case. I like Sifter Worm with Hope Tender and Manalith. It's pretty likely I'll be able to hit the double green that I need. I just need to cut 1 more card, but I think I'm pretty settled on green as opposed to red. Maybe that card is just Ronus' Stalwart? We're just going to win the late game anyway. And maybe we just don't need to be getting aggressive early on. 6th Sense. Maybe the Devotee of Strength is actually just better. Because this late game ability is so relevant. Countervailing Winds, Ambuscade, Hope Tender Trial. This is a definitely tough pick. I guess I should put Horror over here. Strategic Planning. Maybe I don't need Winds of Rebuke, given the green removal that I have. Labor of the Heart is non-legendary. Non-land. Okay, I think that's good enough in Sealed. So what happens if we run it like this? Oh, we could put the Camel in. Because I think the discard is much more relevant in Sealed, where you're trying to, get your opponent's hand empty so you can play your bombs. And it's a zombie, so there's some minor synergies there. Hope Tender, Feral Prowler, okay. I think I'm going to cut the Devotee of Strength. 17 lands. Small green splash. Maybe, I don't think Feral Prowler is good enough in green. And Winds of Rebuke might just be better. That way I can keep green to like a very minimum. Because this card's only good when you can play it early, and top decking it in the late game is pretty uneventful. And the self-mill can be relevant. I think I like that better. So now I can play these, sort by color. So I have only 4 green cards with 3 green sources. That might be enough to play these. Sifter Worm requiring double green, but I'll see it in the very late game. I actually have 4 green sources. Okay, I definitely don't need 4 forests. A lot of my early plays are black. So 13 lands. What does this look like? I'm going to go back to blue and black have the same amount of total costs. I guess black has 1 higher. A lot of my early plays group creatures separately. This goes here, this goes here, this goes here. I want this on 3 and this on 3. So a lot of my early plays are black, and blue is kind of more of a flex spot. So I'm going to combine the groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 black sources. I guess 9. And then blue we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blue. And then 3 green. Maybe in that case I just cut Hope Tender? I mean, it's like okay, but I'm not gonna play it on turn 2 almost ever. And maybe Merciless Eternal is just better than this Hope Tender. And then I'm splashing green for the deserts, 2 good removal spells, and a Sifter Worm. Which I don't think is that bad of an idea. Especially with how easy the green splash is. But this makes my mana even more consistent. Okay. So I have a white desert. Don't think this deck wants Throne of the God Pharaoh. Appeal to Authority. Trample +X/+X. And tap 2. If my opponent's deck is really slow, maybe I could side this in. But it seems quite unlikely. Imaginary Threats can be quite good if, again, they have a very stalled out board. So now let's look at these aerial guides. Are they better than any of these cards? Wretched Camel is just like pretty medium. 2 mana 2/1 that just dies. But again, I'm not really like a super aggressive deck, but I think it's definitely worth putting an aerial guide in there somewhere. So I think I could play a deck without green whatsoever. But the green cards that I do have are just so singularly powerful, I think it's worth splashing for them. I guess the only question is, do I want Aerial Guide over Merciless Eternal? I think the answer is yes. I think the versatility of having flying threats, like flying Sifter Worm, is so much better than just a 3 mana 2/2. And I have good ways to protect the board, or the ground. Even Initiate. Torment of Scarab gives me a late game, but I'll side it out on the draw, especially against aggressive decks. Plague Belcher's great. Scorpion's great. Labyrinth Guardian. Yeah, I think this is how I want it. Alright, see you guys in round 1.